this tutorial I'm going to be going over a simple way of doing weapon swapping and being able to shoot different weapons and whatnot. So what we're going to be using pretty much is switch statements in order to do this. So if I press the E key, we're going to switch weapons, and if I fire, either I'm firing weapon 1 or weapon 2, and in this one I'm not going to be instantiating any objects, but in future tutorials I'll teach you guys how to instantiate a simple weapon and change it up a little bit. So maybe the first weapon does single fire, maybe the next weapon fires faster, or fires an array of bullets, or has some kind of special ability to it. But for now we're just going to go over the basics of weapon swapping and dealing different damage depending on which weapon is equipped. So in my fire script, this is where I'm going to be handling all the different weapons that I'm going to be attaching. So I already created these variables, which are going to be for the instantiated weapons, so weapon 1 or weapon 2, and then the main weapon. So these will just be instantiated objects, and this will be where the objects will be equipped to, which will be main weapon. Which, let me think real quick. I might actually change this up to, I might actually not need this, because I haven't really messed with it too much, because we're going to be instantiating it and placing the weapon to a node on the player. So for the bone structure that's going to be set up, going to be setting it up that way. So I'll go over that more in the future on how to instantiate an object for a different weapon, and when we fire, have that weapon fire instead and whatnot. But you guys don't really have to worry about that just yet. So another variable I created is weapon equipped. That's going to be set to 0 because it's going to be our first weapon. And then we'll go down here to our update function. Now in here we're going to be creating a simple little piece of code for swapping our weapon. So if input get key down, so if I press the E key on my keyboard, it will do a switch statement for weapon equipped. So weapon equipped is just a simple variable for telling us where we are and which weapon is currently equipped. So if case equals 0, so it's set to 0 right now, so it's pretty much just checking the variables. So if it's set to 0, the weapon equip will be equal to 1. And we debug.log just to check and see which weapon is equipped. And then we can break, so it won't even go and check for this one. And now that it's set to 1, because the problem with that is if we set it to 1 and it wanted to read that code, it would set it back to 0, so it wouldn't work. So switch statement is the best for using for swapping weapons. So after, if it's this code that's called, it won't even call this code, so we don't have to worry about it. But yeah, so if it's equal to 1, then the first weapon, or the second weapon will be equipped. If case equals 1, it'll go back to the first weapon and whatnot, so it can swap back and forth. And in between here you could put a giant list of case statements. So weapon equipped, you'd always want to have that be your last one and one be your first. Or let me think real quick. This always has to be the last one, so it cycles through. So you just have to worry about this case statement being the last one. So let's see here. So get button down, so this is our fire button, and we're going to be checking weapon equipped again. So if it's our first weapon, we're going to just call shoot. If it's our second case, we're going to say shoot shotgun. So these codes down here, previously in our networking script we just called shoot, which is for shooting, just shooting different players and whatnot. But I ended up duplicating it and call it shoot shotgun. So this is going to be the shotgun weapon that fires. So in the future we can change up this code to act more like a shotgun. Instead of just sending out one raycast in the center of the screen, we can send them out in multiple directions possibly, so that we can hit a much wider range. And we also have to limit the how far it can shoot, because we don't want our player being able to shoot someone with a shotgun across the map, and we could add some randomness to this to make it so the weapon can be more random. And the only thing I changed for this is that the damage is 20 right here. So let's see real quick. Probably going to have to first save this real quick. Probably just do build and run. And I can also show you in here in the console the different stuff. So we're going to spawn in here, refresh host, and you can see there's a couple things messed up with the GUI right now that I'm trying to fix. It displays 2 GUI elements instead of just the players, and the sprint works or shares the same thing on both screens. But yeah, so if we shoot, you can see it shot weapon 1. So if I hit E, it's actually swapping for both players, so that's going to have to be fixed as well, because we want our player to be able to swap their own weapon instead of another player's weapon. So 0, 1, so that's a big burst damage, and if I switch to 0, which is our first one, you see little tiny bursts. If we switch back to the big one, large burst. So that's pretty much how you can set up different weapons for your networking, or if you're making a single player game. And we'll go over in the future how to give weapons special abilities, since there's nothing really special about each weapon, they just do more damage. But we can give it a fire rate and how much ammo and stuff it has. We'll probably have to create a simple little class to store each weapon variable possibly, but I'll try figuring that out in the future. But yeah, stay tuned for more tutorials.